Yeah, I guess this was a great interview. Thank you. I super appreciate it. I would say for anyone that's listening, a lot of times what happens, you hear something like this, you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. But I don't know if that applies to me, or maybe I made too many mistakes, or maybe I'm too old to do something. This is for young people, or that's just not true. I really believe if you're listening to this, it means you've got a heart beating in your chest and you're alive right now at this moment, at this time in history. And you are worth taking the time to learn about how you're wired, how you work.
Welcome to Inspired Choice today. I'm your host, Caroline Biesalski, here to bring you authentic stories, surprising lessons, and powerful takeaways to fuel your journey in business and life. In each episode, I'll take you from one inspiring guest to the next, blending their experiences with my expertise to uncover practical strategies you can use right away. Whether you're starting out or stepping up, stay tuned for insights and actionable tips that make a difference. And stick around until the end for a special freebie just for our listeners. Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline and my today's guest is Chris Behnke, and I'm so happy that he is here now with us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited for this new year. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, thank you so much. I would like to introduce you to the audience first. You are a leadership expert and the creator of the Nexus Profile, a tool that unlocks human potential by identifying core strengths and aligning individuals with their purpose. With over 2 decades of experience, you help leaders navigate the people factor, the key to long-term success. Your culture-shifting strategies inspire teams to innovate, align, and grow sustainably. Welcome
Yeah.
to the Inspired Podcast, Chris.
Yeah, thank you. Man, it sounds great when you read it. Sounds awesome.
Yes, and you recognize yourself, so that means
Yeah.
it is you, and I'm so happy I did not mix up a bio with someone else.
No.
Of course, I have questions, and the first one is, what's the biggest mistake leaders make when trying to build a purpose-driven culture?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, I think that what happens is a lot of times leaders will read books or follow someone that inspires them, and they'll try to emulate that person and exactly what they did, and they won't understand their own culture and more specifically their own people. And I'm not saying you shouldn't learn from others and read amazing books of people that have had great success and they have a lot to teach, but trying to become them is definitely a path that never works out, because they have a situation, they have a team, they have a unique mix of people with their own unique mix of talents and gifts, and just kind of their own wiring, and that's different than yours. So I think one of the most easy to step into mistakes is trying to copy someone else instead of understanding the situation that you're in, the people that you have on your team, and so forth.
I understand. So when you copy someone, then you copy also the mistakes.
True. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wow, what a great answer to start with. Thank you so much. It's so important. But you also mentioned that we can follow other people or read other people's books and then to apply it to our own lives, right?
Yeah.
Our businesses, cultures. And my next question is, how does the Nexus Profile help businesses unlock hidden potential in their teams?
Yeah, so we developed the Nexus profile over the last 15 years. And there's a lot of personality assessments that exist. Everybody knows lots of these: DISC, Myers-Briggs, StrengthsFinder. There's Enneagram. There's literally dozens of popular ones and hundreds of others. But really, I felt like as we began doing work with small, medium, and even large organizations, that most of those things were trying to quantify the way people behave right at this moment, which is super valuable. It's not valuable, but it's not actually the way the person's wired always. So let me give an example. So if you and I were at dinner somewhere and I spilled food on myself, the way most personality assessments work is they present you with a scenario and then ask you, what would you do? And they maybe give you multiple choices, and they say you could try to make me feel better because you can tell I'm embarrassed, or maybe you try to clean it up because you want to just fix the problem, or maybe you tell someone else, like the wait staff, can you come help clean this up? And that is kind of useful information. It's not useful, but it's based on what you've learned the right responses. So maybe you grew up in a household, in a family culture, a family of origin, where the right thing to do was to just jump right in and start cleaning up. But the way you're wired is to make me feel not so embarrassed. It was to comfort me. But you don't answer that because you learned the right answer is to clean up. So what we created with the Nexus is a way to go beneath all of the life that's happened and quantify the way you're wired at your core. And the reason that is so important is because if you want to honor the people that you're leading, let's say you're a leader and you want to honor the people that you're leading, it's important to understand their behavior based on how they live right now. That's very important. But what's even more important is to understand how they're wired so you can communicate with them in a way that's truly honoring to who they are. And you can motivate them in a way that's truly honoring to who they are. And you can do conflict resolution with them in a way that's truly honoring to who they are. And that's what we did with the Nexus Profile. So it helps companies, leaders, individuals understand how they're wired at the deepest level so that they can basically give themselves permission to be that way, which when they do that, they have a more fulfilling life in every area of life, whether it's personal or relationships or business or leadership, or just every area of life becomes more fulfilling, more satisfying when you actually have a deeper understanding of how you're actually wired. And that's basically the work that we do with the Nexus.
Wow, I love that. Thank you for explaining. And also the example with the restaurant, the dinner, and you pointed out that the way we behave is not the way we answer the question, right? When we are asked, so we have the right behavior, or we think how it should be, and then how we react in the situation itself.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I think that it's not that understanding how you react is different, but it's kind of like if I wanted to honor my wife with an anniversary dinner, and I just wanted to really just honor her, and I think about what I would love. I particularly would. I love sushi, so if I want to honor her, I just plan this amazing evening with the best sushi restaurant in our city. And I go meet with the chef and we plan out this amazing dinner. And I tell her, happy anniversary. We're going to go to the best sushi restaurant in the city, except for she doesn't like sushi. So she wouldn't feel honored at all. It would be dishonoring to her. Just because I like it doesn't mean she likes it. But if we kind of go around, interacting with people, only thinking about the way, we want to honor them in a way that would be honoring to us, if we don't understand who they are, we will inadvertently be not as honoring as we could. Does that make sense?
Yes. So that means we don't look through our own glasses or the perspective what we would like to eat.
Yeah.
We choose from the interests of our, how's the word?
Yeah, exactly.
In front of us. The person in front of us, and you mentioned your significant other.
Yeah.
Yes. My next question for you. I love it. What advice would you give to leaders struggling with disengaged employees?
Oh, man. I think what's interesting is I've been in entrepreneurship and in business for 25 years now. And what's interesting is I started my career working with a lot of Gen X people, which is what I am. And then I kind of went through a phase where I was hiring a lot of software developers that were all millennials. And now I work with a lot of Gen Z people. I work with all the generations. What's interesting is every time like this kind of younger generation kind of enters the workforce, then everyone complains about how disengaged they are. And I feel like previous generations, when I was, getting my first job, they were talking about how disengaged I was. or our generation. And so I feel like it's not actually anything new at all. I think what happens is that as these kind of generations emerge and they have a cultural relevance of what's happening around them, they develop this culture, if you will, of their generation. It's very well studied. And the problem is it's different than often the people that they're working with, because they're from a different generation. They're older, 10, 15, 20 years older makes a big difference. Just what they grew up with, how they experience life is different. And so they're looking through, I love the example you use, looking through the glasses. They're looking through the glasses of their life experience, and they don't understand the behavior of the younger people or the other people because they are going through different life experiences. So I feel like most important thing leaders can do is to kind of do their best to step away from their own understanding, their own bias, their own glasses, and try to understand from the other person's perspective what their life experience is like. We have people today that are entering the job market that don't know what life is like without, a smartphone that with literally every answer to every question you could ever have in their pocket. They don't know what it's like without that. And so it's kind of radically different from when I grew up and entered the workplace. And I think most important thing leaders can do is to take a step back to understand what is the life like for that person. How do I get in their kind of purview? How do I put on their glasses? And then from that standpoint, they can say, well, what's important to them? What motivates them? How can I respect and honor who they are by helping them see what their role is in the organization fits into something that they care about? If you can do that, then you can increase engagement significantly. If you can't do that, you just kind of have this spiraling disengagement until the large part of your culture is just a disengaged environment. And that's very difficult to recover from. You can do it, but it's very difficult.
Oh, I understand. That makes sense. So it's about understanding each other and bridging the generations as well. Wow, this is beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, it's good. It's
you want to, yeah. And what about your coaches and mentors? So you help other people. Do you have coaches and mentors for yourself? And who was the best coach you ever had?
Oh man, that's so good. So yeah, so I think that it's really interesting because I think a lot of times people tell themselves a lie. They don't realize they're doing it. They tell themselves a lie. And the lie is, man, no one understands what I'm going through. And then they kind of justify that lie by saying, look at how unique my situation is. I have this and that, and then this happened, and this is going on in the world right now. And then this particular bad or good thing happened. And look, that's so unique. I can't think of anyone that has gone through that experience, which is likely true. And then we kind of build this lie that no one is really understanding where we're at, so they can't really help us and so forth. But the reality is that uniqueness likely is true, but that doesn't mean that there's not a lot of people that can come in and speak into with wisdom through their lenses of what they've gone through into your life and be able to provide really important insight. In fact, sometimes the fact that they haven't had the exact same situation can be super helpful because they can bring in look, I didn't go through that, but I went through something like this, and here's what we did. And they can apply wisdom that's outside of it. I think one of the biggest mistakes that entrepreneurs make is that they don't feel like anyone can understand. And so because of that, they don't actually get people to encourage them, people to speak wisdom into their life. I think mentors are super important. I spent a lot of my career kind of feeling like I had this unique scenario. But one of the most influential people in my life was actually not somebody I sought out as a mentor specifically, but a client that we were working with just cared deeply about the success of everybody he worked with. And even though he was our client, he just would speak into the success of what we were doing in our organization. And he would meet with no agenda. He would want to just meet for coffee. And at first it was like, why am I having this discussion with you? But over a period of time, I realized that this person really just cared about everyone thriving. And I learned a lot from that person. And I realize now, looking back, that he was purposely spending extra time because he cared about my success. And he's just a caring person. Looking back now, I think that I would be significantly more purposeful about finding people to speak into my life. And I do that now. But if I would have done that my entire career, I think it would have been a lot better. I don't know if that directly answers your question or not.
Yes, I think so. I got a lot from this. Thank you so much for sharing also about the importance of having mentors and coaches, and also to accept the energy of the idea of having some. I
Yeah.
was an entrepreneur for 16 years now, and I had the same issue. I thought no one can understand me, so I was not asking for help or support. And only now, in the last 1 or 2 years, I found out how helpful this is. So thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing. And my next question is about, where can we find you when people want to reach out to you after listening to this episode?
Yeah. So probably the best place to find the work that we do with the Nexus Profile is to go to thehumannexus.com. And on the site, you can take the Nexus Profile for free. We have a free version on there. There's information about our business services that we offer. There's a lot of executive coaching opportunities, hiring, training that we do, things like that. But if you just want to reach out to me specifically, you can find information about me at chrisbehnke.info. And that has links to kind of different things. I've got a book that's coming out probably in the end of February, early March. So you can find information about that and things like that all on that website.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. I put the links in the show notes, of course. And I have one last question for you. It is about your goals and intentions. Do you set goals for yourself? And what is one of your next projects? You already mentioned your book. What
Yeah.
else can we expect?
Yeah. So one of my goals for this year is to reach 1 million people with the Nexus Profile. It's one of the reasons why over this last year we made the free version. It's the full assessment, but it's a scaled back kind of lightweight report. So it's the full assessment, but the report is lightweight. And we did that because I believe that most people feel like they're missing or will miss the life that they were supposed to have, like they were meant to have. And what I have found in my career is that if we can unlock a deeper understanding of how a person's wired, giving them permission to be who they actually are, it can unlock every single part of their life. They can thrive, and they can flourish in every part of life. So we really have a goal. And one of my goals is this year to reach 1 million people with the Human Nexus assessment, because that, and there's a simple e-course and some other things that are all free. That kind of begins to unlock for people and give them permission for the first time to be how they're wired. And I think once people do that, they can actually thrive in every area. And then everyone benefits, because it's not just them, but it extends to their family and their place of work and what they're doing in the world. And I think that actually can make a difference in the world, actually. So our goal is to get 1 million people through the assessment in this year. It's a lot, but I think we can do it. I'm excited about it.
Yes, I can feel the excitement, and also I'm convinced that you can do it. It's already done because you set the, let's say, intention, or it's your purpose. So please reach out to Chris. He's amazing. He shares his knowledge and wisdom, and check out the Nexus Profile on the website. Thank you so much for our interview. And now is time for your final thoughts to the audience, please.
Yeah, I guess this was a great interview. Thank you. I super appreciate it. I would say for anyone that's listening, a lot of times what happens, you hear something like this, you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. but I don't know if that applies to me, or maybe I made too many mistakes, or maybe I'm too old to do something. This is for young people, or that's just not true. I really believe if you're listening to this, it means you've got a heart beating in your chest and you're alive right now at this moment, at this time in history. And you are worth taking the time to learn about how you're wired, how you work. And I think that there is a lot of opportunities out there that are missed because people think they've missed them, not because they've actually been missed. And so I would just say you owe it to yourself. Go, spend some time, write down what your goals are, think about where you want to go take the Nexus Profile. It's free. It will help you understand a little bit more about yourself, your motivational drivers, and maybe spend some time and connect. What do you want that to look like in 5 years? And I really believe if people just spend a couple hours doing that, this is a perfect time because it's the beginning of a new year. But if you just spend some time doing that, really give yourself an opportunity to unlock things and just have a more fulfilling, more powerful, more impactful life. So I just, you're worth it. I just encourage you to say that you're worth it.
Wow, you're worth it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'll check it out right after our interview now. And thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been awesome.
And see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to Inspired Choice today. I'm thrilled to have you on this journey of growth and transformation. Don't forget to hit follow or subscribe to stay connected and never miss an episode. And here's something special. Grab your free 20-minute breakthrough session with me. It's designed to help you kickstart or level up your business. Just check out the show notes for more. Until next time, keep making those inspired choices. See you in the next episode.